Jacqui-Lee Pryce for Shadowboxruk UK here in Nottingham for the Cacace Wood press conference, final press conference with Dev Sahni. How are you doing?
Good. I like your energy. You've got a spring in your step today. You're hyped for this, aren't you?
Actually, to be fair, I'm tired, but I am hyped for this card. No joke, I'm hyped for this card. Fantastic matches on this card.
So good. Like the main event, 50-50. Then you've got Ezra Taylor, Troy Jones, 50-50. Liam Davis stepping up in weight against Kurt Walker, stepping up in level, could be a 50-50. Owen Cooper, Chris Congo, 50-50. Oh. Everywhere you look, I mean, there's your percentages, there's your fractions right there, 50-50.
If you are a lover of boxing, if you want a little bit of something, do you know what I mean? There's something for everybody in there, isn't there?
I can't wait. Honestly, I can't wait. Like we did the launch presser, it feels like an eternity ago, and that got me hyped for this The Hurt game. And it was a bit more lively today actually than I thought it would be between Cacace and Wood. I think they both know it's getting closer. Wood we haven't seen since October 2023. He is itching. He has had his nose pressed up against the window, watching all of his rivals win fights, make statements. Now it's his turn. But Anto Cacace he's looking like he's that guy. He's looking like from age 34, 35, he just found himself, and it's quite something to see. And he's the favourite.
He is the favourite, and I'll tell you what, I mean, obviously Wood's a two-time former world champion, but let's talk about Cacace for a second. I don't want to take anything away from Wood. You know, that long layoff could play into giving Cacace a little bit of the edge. And I think the difference between them is that Cacace hasn't been banged about. You know, he's had a couple of really good fights, but Leigh Wood has had quite a few really great, tough fights. What are your thoughts on that?
I agree with you. And Cacace has said that he feels like he's the fresher fighter than Leigh Wood. They're the same age, but you know, Wood's had more fights, and some of them have been life and death kind of fights, hard fights. Do you know what else is interesting is that I've heard Leigh Wood talking about seeing the finishing line. He's talking about, you know, it's all one fight at a time, etc. But that he's more conscious than ever of the shots that he's taking, of how hard these fights are becoming, of how he's starting to feel after some of these fights. And I don't know if that's necessarily in the mind of Anthony Cacace right now. I don't know if he's as conscious. What that translates to on fight night, I don't know. Is one more willing to go to a dark place if they need to? If they have to go to the well, is it still there? We know Leigh Wood, when he does go to the well, it is there. But what about right now? What about 18 months later? What about all this talk about finishing line? I don't know. I'm fascinated by it.
I'm fascinated that he's actually shared that with you because, you know, us being in the boxing game as coaches and stuff, we kind of know that. And then some people can kind of, you know it's coming, but you only find it out in the ring. You hear that saying of somebody ages in the ring. You just don't know when it's going to come. So I'm quite intrigued that he told you that, but that could actually make him quite a dangerous fighter.
Yeah, look, and he's in Nottingham, and he's described this place as a superpower. And also, he's got this kind of charged up energy. It's been a while since he's been able to celebrate in that ring in Nottingham. He's had a couple of fights there over the last few years. Lara, he lost that one, okay? He won the rematch, that wasn't in Nottingham. Before that, the Mick Conlan thriller. He couldn't celebrate at the end of the fight because he was worried about Mick Conlan. We all were. We didn't know whether or not he was okay. Therefore, muted celebrations from Leigh Wood. So he hasn't had his big moment for years in that ring. So he's got all of that going into this as well, all of that kind of charge. I'm just so curious about this because he's a hell of a fighter. He's one of the most entertaining fighters out there. But Cacace, do you know what? They're so similar, so stubborn, two stubborn. That's what they are.
I absolutely love, and a lot of people might be, I don't know, a bit bored of the respect, but I love the fact that they respect each other, but bubbling underneath. Listen, both of those fighters want to win. Let's not get it twisted.
Yeah, and they're so similar as well. Like I said to Cacace earlier, we had a chat, and I talked about, you know, what level of respect do you actually have for this guy? Because for me, it looks like it's almost like you're looking into a mirror here, where this is a guy who's come good late in his career, who's had plenty of setbacks, had to work through, had to fight through, been on the outside looking in at times as well, fights for his people, fights for his city, all of those things that you are he is as well. It's incredible, and that, I think that explains the level of respect that they have. But Cacace did also say, make no mistake, respect, etc., etc. I intend to punch his head in on Saturday, which is great. And I think they'll be looking to really punch each other's head in. And I think that wolf pit of Nottingham, let's find out, because if you throw Cacace to the wolves, does he get eaten alive or does he come out leading the pack? We'll find out.
I like that.
Yeah,
I like that. So let's talk about briefly the presser from last week. The Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. Some awkward moments. I mean, firstly, again, what an absolute pinnacle of your career, being in the centre of there.
For me, that's crazy. Yeah, I put a post up the other day. I'll be honest, I did it because I was feeling a bit, and I was just sort of reflecting, and I put up the 2 pictures of me from the undisputed fight, Usyk Fury, the press conference. I got to do that, and then the undisputed fight now for Usyk Dubois, and I was just like, even if you're feeling, you've done that.
Yes,
that's great. And I was. It sort of like made me quite happy to reflect on that. But to the presser itself, it was eventful, as you say, a few awkward moments. And I'll tell you one thing, I have done now 4 Oleksandr Usyk press conferences. The first one was Daniel Dubois the first time, heading into their first fight, and he just played a character. He didn't really say much. Against Fury, we've seen the press conference that he did for that. Not a lot was said. Sometimes he'll say something and then he'll just say enough. But this time, he got drawn into back and forth with George Fox over there, Don Charles over there, even Daniel's giving it, saying his legs are going to do a funny dance. Usyk was, for me, I don't want to say rattled, but I've not seen him like that before.
I have to agree. I want to take it to the conversation that Don Charles I interviewed after, very passionate guy. There's been a lot made of this Lobo. Is it a Lobo or no blow? Photos came out, receipts came out, and Don Charles called Usyk a liar. He looked visibly upset by that. I mean, what are your thoughts on
Usyk is a man of integrity, a man of pride, and all of that fallout from the first fight. And it's come up again now just because they're rematching, but these are all stabs at his integrity. Calling him a liar, the great Oleksandr Usyk, to call him a liar is it's a real poke. It's a real poke to Oleksandr Usyk. He's not had this before. He's not come out of a fight before where people are suggesting that he's cheated in that fight, he's play acted, he's lied in that fight, he's conned the referee. These are normally we come out of an Usyk fight celebrating him, talking about how skillful he is. People still did that after the Dubois fight, the first one, but there was many out there also saying these other things, and look, he gets the chance to put all of that to bed. First fight was the first fight. Even Daniel wants to move on. Let's forget all of that now, kind of thing. But it's been interesting. Don Charles was heavy, and I like that he kept the energy though, because he could have easily been super respectful, right? But the truth is, he had been out there since the first fight saying all of these things about Usyk. Now he had the chance to say it to him at a press conference, and he did it. So fair play, Don Charles.
I mean, he meant it. This was not a kind of soundbite for the media. I mean, he truly believes what he's saying. But in reading on social media, the kind of comeback when I posted the interview, a lot of people are saying, you can't say that to Usyk, and, you've got to respect him. Is it a case of sometimes we are blinded by the fact that we are in awe of Oleksandr Usyk?
I think there's a little bit of that. I also think this is mental warfare. Right?
Yes.
They've got to fight. They've got an undisputed World Heavyweight Championship to win as a team on July the 19th, right? It is the 19th, isn't it?
It is the 19th,
I got that wrong. Goodness me. But listen, it's mental warfare, and Don Charles is very much, he believes in that, and he's talked about how he does feel that he gained from that presser, and that you can gain from a press conference. Some fighters, some trainers don't think anything of it. Presser's a presser, doesn't make any difference on fight night. I think it does. I think sometimes these pressers, these interviews, they can make a difference. Not speaking just to Liam Davis earlier. Liam Davis is bouncing back from the first defeat of his career to Shabazz Massoud. That was a fight that went in where he was emotional in the fight because he'd had a lot of stick from Shabazz. People from Shabazz's team had been messaging people. He had all of that going on. So had that not been going on, would Liam Davis have performed in a different way? Would he have fought with less emotion? You just never know.
But what it can offer is a chance for him to then understand that there is somebody is able to break him mentally, and that's just something to go off and work on. So in some respects, although he lost, he's kind of gained a little bit of knowledge about himself, if that makes sense.
Very, very good point. And to bring it back to Usyk, I don't think he will think, I don't think he's thinking about it now. I don't think it's stewing away with him about like what happened at the press or anything like that. But it was just interesting in the moment to see him react like that.
It's interesting that you say that, because I wonder if the keys to even more determination, we know that Oleksandr Usyk is a fighter that goes beyond. You know, he goes beyond. Mentally, he's incredibly strong. And I just wonder if Don Charles has handed him the keys for that extra little... Because, listen, here's the thing. He believes he's not a liar. When someone calls you a liar, and you're almost determined to prove yourself even more.
Yeah, look, and he'll have that. He'll have that determination. And if Usyk can unlock further gears, my goodness, that's a hard night for anyone in history. By the way, he's incredible. He's a marvel of boxing, and I'm looking forward to seeing him on Saturday the 19th at Wembley. I feel like it could be Daniel's time.
I was going to say, you're somebody that obviously goes in and interviews Daniel regularly. Have you seen a change in him mentally over the last few fights?
For sure. I've seen that. I've known him since he was 18 and he first came into the Queensbury office, and you can see it now. For the public to see, you can see things like at a press conference he said, "They're all fucking boring over there." When has Daniel Dubois done that? You've seen it when he called Filip Hrgovic a C word when they did a round table. When Joshua tried to kind of sun him, he was like, "Well, you want to go now? Let's go now." He didn't back down. These things, when Miller was giving it to him, first presser, I mean, he didn't get a word in, but he went away, he regrouped, he came back, and suddenly, hey, big baby, every baby has a daddy, and I'm going to beat you like I'm your daddy. You know what I mean, that just plays in my head sometimes. But yeah, look, we've seen that this guy has changed. He's never going to be Tyson Fury in terms of that flamboyance, but what he has found is his voice. He's 27 years old now. He knows who he is. He had to grow up in front of the cameras. He's almost like a kind of Michael Jackson kind of character where we're just kind of watching this guy grow. And you got to think he's come out of being homeschooled, come out of being in the amateurs, and suddenly he's turned pro. He's got cameras and mics in his face. So Daniel, you know, not everyone could just do it like that, but he's experienced now, and he's a force.
It must be a delight to see, though, for you.
Yeah, for sure. Like I remember the first time I met him, and I had to do the interview with him, like a non-camera interview for the press release, and he was coming with his dad. And really, his dad was just doing all the answering for him. Daniel was just like this shy kid, and that shocked me at the time. I'd never done an interview like that where someone else is literally just answering for the fighter. And now you see, like, his dad wasn't. I don't think his dad was there at the presser the other day.
He wasn't there, no.
No, like he's fully. He's
kind of broken out, hasn't he?
Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and it's nice to see. Nice to see him in. I mean, some of the stuff they used to wear was scandalous. You know, the leggings and the leather jacket. Like, but look at him now. He's fully suited up. He's got tailors and all sorts.
Hey, listen, I'm sure there's some outfits that you used to drop back in the day.
Yeah, don't get me started. Yeah.
Listen, it's always a pleasure. Thank you ever so much for giving us your time, and see you fight night.
See you then. Nice to speak to you.